Boom. Oh, it didn't let us invite friends. Interesting. All right, well, I guess go. We'll sit down. Welcome, everybody.
Greetings, live from Seattle.
Bit over 7 o'clock, and it was sunny today.
Yeah,
We went out and got some sun, and we went to the beach, took the dog. It was a good day.
it was a really good day. Hopefully everybody had the opportunity to get outside, get some sun. I mean,
Definitely.
sun just feeds the system.
Yeah, definitely. Especially right now, you know. It's so important to get out there and get some sun, drink enough water, eat some living food.
Thanks,
You know.
Mom. I mean, Dad.
Thanks, bro.
But welcome to the live broadcast. Our goal is to do this twice a week.
Yeah.
Which is pretty significant in a way because most people are creating their work and writing it down and making notes. We are just showing up.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what we want to do. We want to come here and be the divine channels that we are and all of you are. We just know we are and we believe it. And so tonight this is a really important subject. I know Lobo texted me a couple days ago and was like, how about this? And I'm like, sure. But then he could have texted me anything and I've been sure.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
could have been like pizza party.
Yeah, who doesn't like pizza? If you can, I'm seeing all you beautiful people. So it's not as crazy as it was when I was. Thank you, everybody that's joined.
Yeah.
The monitor is kind of far. So if you kind of see him, Todd, or I kind of looking a little off, it's because we're looking at a monitor. But we can't see who's logged on. So thank you, everybody that's logged on. Please, if you can, share this broadcast live for anybody that you want or on your page. Please, we say thank you so much. Yes. So, and please, if you can, please go like 2source22 on Facebook and follow Todd and follow me.
Yeah.
So either or.
Yeah,
So
I
thank you
guess
so much.
like, right?
Like, whatever. Yeah.
I know
whatever you
our
want.
goal is to make this a multi-dimensional, so we'll be live on YouTube, we'll be live on some of the other stuff.
Instagram,
too.
we're figuring all out right now. So
yeah, this is
please
on the
be patient.
fly.
Yeah.
And we'll have a monitor closer as soon as we get everything set up.
Yeah.
Where we can answer questions, because one of the goals will be, and not tonight, is to actually answer live questions, because that's super entertaining for me. I love throwing
same
any
here.
question in the universe, and we'll bring it from source, because that's the name of us is 2source.22, and that means 22 is kind of a master number. I love this name. We didn't get to talk about much, so let's talk about it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
In numerology, 2source22, if you add it all together, is a straight up 33, which is service to humanity on a higher level. And also 2 is 2 of us, 22 is you, and source is the goal and our work. I know I really want to get people to understand that we can be multidimensional and
Human.
And tonight we're going to be talking about what?
Perspective and personalities.
Yeah, raise your hand if you have a personality.
Raise your hand if you have many personalities.
No. Or have had many personalities. No, not for me. I've pretty much been me my whole life. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of boring. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm okay if I elbow him. And that's interesting because you're bringing up, like, when you were 2 spirit. We want to include some of our lives because, heck, we've been doing this work for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy used to be 2 spirit.
Yeah, I think I had a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
Or aspects or whatever you want to call them, But we want to be open and vulnerable and authentic.
Yes.
So this is why we're doing these talks, to be open, vulnerable, authentic, which means being truthful and honest. and allowing that humanity or humanness to come out and be seen.
Yeah, and ridiculous, obviously. So since we have personalities, everyone can raise their hand again. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you say?
Yeah.
Well, you came up with this topic, so you know, I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. You know, it's funny, we spent a good portion of the day together, and we didn't really talk about anything besides, you know, food,
puppies, sun, walking.
Look at the other puppies.
Yeah, because we went to the dog park out in Edmonds and stuff. Yeah, there's such a wide conversation about personalities. You know.
Yeah.
I can share about my experience about personalities. I called myself a walk-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I called myself a walk-in because that personality, that's what it wanted to be identified as a walk-in soul. And so it was called two-spirit white wolf. You know, and it was really interesting because that personality brought me some really interesting lessons. You know, it really I got to know my darkness, my shadow side, whatever you want to call it, your negative, demonic, whatever you want to call it. Okay, there's so many names that it goes for the same thing, and so that personality really allowed me to become expansive, and it taught me some really complex lessons. I can't even.
Well, let's hear a couple of the complex lessons, because we're going to get deep into personality today, and I appreciate you stepping forward and talking about what you've been through.
So what I remember from my past incarnations is me being one of my incarnations being stuck in the underworld or darkness or hell. One? No, like many.
Hundreds.
Millennia.
Like thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
Yeah.
And so I was stuck down there, which basically, I fought my way up the ranks, you know? So I basically became one of the top dogs because I was stuck there for so long. So what did I do? I basically became darkness, became that shadow aspect, became that demon, became whatever. Sorry, became that thing that I was. And so and
what was that thing, though?
Pure evil, pure darkness. I mean, everything that society says is wrong to be.
Yes.
And I manifested that here in this incarnation, in this lifetime, and I played it out really, really well, you know, and I can attest to that. I became everything that you weren't supposed to be as a spiritual healer, quote unquote spiritual healer or healer, or a light worker, whatever you want to call it. I was completely opposite, you know, and I was so, I'm going to use the word now, fragmented.
Yeah.
Fragmented. There were so many pieces of my true soul essence missing.
Yeah.
You know?
And in a way, I mean, personality is one aspect of that, right? We're going to really go into that, but we have to acknowledge, and when I say we, I, they, and everyone who's been a client of mine knows that's how I speak. It's basically because it's just coming from source, from my higher self, through my higher self. So have to acknowledge personality, but we also have to acknowledge that there's aspects of us that are in balance and out of balance. And I love that Lobo has the courage to kind of throw it out there and acknowledge that this is a work in process in this life. And I've been around you long enough, and I've been through this stuff, and he's helped me in many ways, of course. And I've also understand how fragmentation works, and understand that can be healed, and have worked to assist with that. But what it comes down to is willingness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
willingness to be honest with yourself, and acceptance, because I knew this was playing on, but I called it, because of my Jehovah Witness background, my
sure,
religious Christian background. I called it a possession, or an attachment, a demonic attachment on me. It wasn't on me, but it was part of me, that's what I called it.
Sure.
And but it wasn't until December and January when this word really started playing in my head, finally said, you are a psychopath. Why don't you just embrace that word? You are psychopath. You are psychotic. You have psychosis. Go ahead and embrace it.
Right.
And when I did that, little did I know that I was really going to go into, I don't even want to call it a dark night of the soul. I want to call it like the last fragmentation. Like, basically you crack the shell.
Mm-hmm.
The shell's already been broken, and then you crack it, and it's completely needs to either implode or explode. And the Kundalini yoga teacher training that I was doing was helping me learn how to implode that within myself, instead of me being like I used to be before, and explode and make the mess and the ripples worse. So I still had a little bit of that, but I allowed it to implode. And when that implosion happened, it destroyed the foundation of everything.
Which, what is a foundation? There's a lot of generalities that are spoken through teachers, and, dark night of the soul, or foundation, or if you just have enough love, or if you just get rid of your flaws. I mean, we could go on, and we will. But the point is like, what is a foundation in the first place? That's kind of what Spirit's asking right now. What does everyone out there think a foundation is? I mean, take a moment. Like, what is your foundation?
Yeah.
Is it based on your ability to serve? Is it based on your ability to live life to the fullest? Is it based on your ability to transform? Is it based on your ability to survive? How many of us right now, including Lobo, who were in survival, and even myself in some forms, I can feel aspects of myself in survival. Yeah. Why is that? This is when we start getting into personality, and getting into the reasons and the pushes behind fragmentation, and needs, and emotions, and what you think you deserve and don't deserve, in programs. Mm-hmm. So now that we know that there's a dark night of the soul, and for many people, this is an initiation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I would love to go into the initiations. I understand that quite well, and there is a specific curve to the initiation process. And one of the steps, and everyone has to go through this, is a kind of a dark night of the soul event.
And so I have to clarify this.
Yeah.
So many people feel like you go into darkness, or you go to a place where you're sick, and like it's like very momentary. People think that's a dark night of the soul.
Right.
No. Dark night of the soul is embracing that monster you created and allowed with love to protect you and to be your guardian. You have to embrace that, completely embrace it, and embody it and become it in order for that to happen. And when you do that, that is a dark night of the soul, because you go to the darkest place you have ever been in your life, and you basically are almost consumed.
Yeah, and I want to say that it's more dramatic for some people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and that's totally true. You can unwind it also. So there is an embracing of it, but there is a way to go in and unwind it through acknowledgement, through allowing. So we like the explosion and the boom, and like Lobo, he's like, he wants to feel it, and it's a wonderful gift that he is that way, because he has a different way of expressing the lesson that he learned. But I have to fill in the gaps from spirit on other forms of doing this.
And the reason I chose to do that, to use that word, because that word is so powerful.
Yeah, it is.
You know, we don't realize that majority of us have psychosis. You know?
Oh yeah, everybody.
In the world, everybody.
Well, they're saying about 87%.
That's a lot.
So what would you define psychosis as?
Psychosis, basically not having healthy boundaries.
Say that again?
Not having healthy boundaries.
Okay.
Psychosis would be acting without thinking about it, or just going. I mean,
or reactive, being reactive.
I mean, there's so many words.
Well, I wanna like, reactive is there's, you know, common knowledge that there's two brains within us. There's an animalistic and a higher brain. And reactive tends to come from more of the, you know, like flight or fight syndrome. These are our body systems and genetics. So this reactive part is going to be like that prod or that push or that fight. And we are human, aren't we? I mean, the one little bit we talked about today, it was like, wow, we have to integrate.
Yeah, we don't realize like how, again, here's the word, fragmented we are.
Yeah.
And fragmentation just didn't happen in this lifetime. It happened, it's in your DNA, it's in society, it's in music, it's in movies, it's in our food, it's in everything.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a fragmented society, honestly, in a fragmented world. You know, so how do we become whole in a fragmented world?
Well, I know we said dark night of the soul is one aspect of going through it. I mean, how about, instead of the implosion or explosion, how about honoring that this is part of being human? This is part of who we are.
But that's not the new age perspective.
Oh, well, what is the new age perspective?
I can just put it in the closet and forget about it.
Oh yeah, skip everything we said, guys. Go back to your closets right now. Turn the light off. Bring a cookie.
I am not dark. I am not shadow. I am not psychotic, and I don't have psychosis. That is the majority of the reaction that people have. I mean, I remember our conversation of the soul contracts.
Yeah.
And when people asked us what we saw, we brought up some really dark lives.
Yeah.
And we got reactions, or severe reactions from people.
Yes.
You know? and
sorry if I chuckle.
And some backlash, honestly, because there were these comments like, "Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are judging me?" And it was like, we didn't judge. You asked us to see your soul contracts, what needed to be worked on, why you came here to work on, you know?
Yeah.
And so I remember that, and it was like this fear, this like, I'm a healer. There's no broken aspects. There's no shadow in me, you know? But when we act like this and freeze up and say, "Who do you think you are?" Who's speaking for us?
Reaction. You know, and that's where we want to start, I think, is reaction. Mm-hmm. Our personalities, as they are reactive, based on programs, based on past times, based on present circumstances, based on the patterns of your life. If we're going to stay in this personality, we have to at least define it. Yeah. And we want to go, one of the things we want to do is say it's okay to have a personality. And it's important to have a personality.
Oh my gosh, it's really important because it's the human experience, yo.
Yeah.
Hi, hello. Didn't you come as a divine essence, spirit, soul flowing through your human body to have a physical human experience?
What other choice do you have? You are physical. You chose to be here. Everyone who's actually watching, you're in physical. Congratulations. Now go to the closet. No.
Don't put that back in the closet.
We are always fighting being here. We're always complaining. We're always reacting to that this is difficult. And where that reaction comes from
Oh, wow.
the mind.
Yeah. A lot of programs.
And programs. But we have to acknowledge the truth here, because we're not talking about getting rid of anything or changing anything. We are talking about evolution to a multi-consciousness. That's the goal of these talks, honestly, from spirit, my sources, or what source really wants me to push forward. But we are talking about being present in the now, which we talked a little bit last week. We are here as, I mean, come on, dude. I know you from a bunch of lives, and you never looked as cute as you do now.
That's a good thing. This is a lot of hard work, man.
He had red eyes. I mean, red eyes, and he's like multi-teeth and all kinds of stuff.
Maybe we should honestly maybe touch back on a couple of those lives, because I think it's important that we allow people to know that the reason why we're here and we are able to see and do the work that we do, be these catalysts, is because of learning the lessons or bringing forth those lessons from those past lives.
Sure, but I also want to say that a lot of the things that we're going to approach tonight are recent revelations. I have been on this path for over 30 years. I mean, I could have gone to college out of high school. I had the family was like, we will pay for it. And yet when I looked at college, there wasn't anything I wanted to learn there. But I didn't know what I wanted to learn. I mean, I have been working on spiritual consciousness for a long time. And it's only recently that Lobo and we've learned a lot. And we've learned it's okay to be personality, and it's okay to be spirit. And so when we go into some of these lives, though, even some of the lives that we've touched on have been recent revelations that we've seen in the last year or two. Yes. And we want to bring this up because this isn't stuff other people told us. This is stuff our spirits have told us, or us together, or maybe one or two other people who kind of share a similar viewpoint. It's all happening now, and it's happening for all of you now. Yeah. This is important because that shows you that we're not that far ahead or ahead of all of you, and we want you to understand that these revelations in these lives and these things that are coming forth are recent. This understanding of the mind and reaction and being in personality are recent, and all of you are getting these seeds, and that's why they're having us talk to it, because you already know.
And I think I feel and I love our dynamics, because you are so higher self, connected to your higher self. And I, with all the experiences and all these lessons that have been coming, I've really embraced the humanness part of me. It's completely embraced that humanness, which really complements each other. I would call myself what Spirit calls me is the one pulled out of darkness, you know, the one pulled out of darkness, which is what I do relate with that, you know, because it's been a great journey. It's been revealing, you know, and like, I think this is the first time that I love being human.
Yeah,
and this incarnation so far, you know. And I think we have a lot of years ahead of us. They won't let us get off the earth early.
And that's really a choice, isn't it? Loving being human. I mean, I'm learning to be more human, right? I'm going opposite. I am totally connected with spirit, and I know that my teaching is a lot of becoming more human and becoming more comfortable and enjoying life. I know for me, I came in with purpose, right? And there's a lot of people out there that, and I want to mention this because it's a pressure, that the people who came in to help change the planet, you're feeling pressure. And I want to acknowledge that really quick. I've always had this pressure, and I've had to walk a little bit of a narrow path, you know, in blah, blah, blah. So, but it doesn't matter, does it? We're different. And so here we have this dichotomy of a more human, super connected soul and a more like higher self, super connected soul. And we're both rubbing off on each other to explain to you that both realities are completely relevant. And there's learning going on every day. We can't stop changing.
Oh no! If we stop changing, we die. Literally.
Yeah.
We start
retirement.
Retirement, and literally like that spark in our soul just like, you know, and then we just aren't the sparkly personality that we are.
I wish I had sparkles right now just to throw a few on you.
Next time we'll have some effects, you know.
Yeah. Bubbles. One snap is bubbles. Or that was more than one. 3 snaps is bubbles.
We're so silly.
So personality, which we are expressing, which is important. You know, one of the things we mentioned is like just be ourselves. I have to say I know I'm myself, and Lobo here is pretty much always himself. We might want to change him, but we know he's himself. And we might want to change me too. This is part of this dichotomy of energy and purpose, that our personality right now is really feeling fragmented. So let's get back to the subject because we're having too much fun.
Yeah, here we go.
So why are the personalities fragmented?
Well,
in 4 seconds or less.
Oh man. The refusal of acknowledging that you are human and that there are flaws in our DNA and in society, and so we try to be that perfect healer, and there you go. I don't know why I chose one sentence.
I mean, we're fragmented because we're growing.
Yeah.
Guys, we're changing. We are in the midst of the greatest, one of the greatest, they're calling it top 10 experiments in the human condition.
Is that what
in
this
the
is?
In the universe. This is always, I'm always direct channel. So we are changing from this physical reactive being into a multi-dimensional intuitive soul who's fully physical. And that's what we're really trying to push tonight. Is like, guys, if you're fighting being here on the planet, if you are not acknowledging that you're human, if you're trying to be perfect, if you're simply avoiding the truth, these are all fragmentation systems, and it all comes from a mind-based genetic body system. So we only have 2 choices.
Yes. Either get on board or not.
Yeah.
And when we don't, it's really funny because a lot of people's karmas are being played out right now because they're not on board with the changes. Trust me, it's easier if you are on board and allow the ebb and flow to go. So I've seen it, I've experienced it, I've had a couple clients come through me that have had explosive karmic releases. I am talking about explosive, you know, of playing out full karmic events in their life, and there's no good or bad, but it's your choice. If there's resistance, then the lesson is going to be a little bit harder.
Sure.
And if you are willing to let go what no longer serves you, it's going to be an easier ride.
Well, I mean, it's all choice. I mean, I know yesterday we had talked about doing talk yesterday, and yesterday I kind of needed a day off, but I was also just like, meh. 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 You know, and then I realized at the end of the evening, I'm like, oh, I need to change my thinking. I need to stop with some of the old programs and actually shift. So I worked all last night and this morning, on like when the negative thoughts or the patterns would come up, I would just acknowledge them, and then I would like, yes, but I'm going to create a better day today. And Spirit always does this stuff. I mean, the reasons we're doing this talk is in a way a little bit selfish, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
Because we need to grow, and so the way you grow is by teaching. And the way I grow is really by bringing through information, not just for my clients, but information for everyone out there and everybody. It's like it's a wonderful gift.
Yeah, I feel that it's amazing because like every time we have a perspective or like we have a goal, and humans and spirits are like, oh, you really want to learn that lesson? Well, let me bring it to you. Like in less than 2 hours, you know?
Yeah.
It's like this because we're like, okay, we're willing, we're open, we're willing. Show me what needs to be brought into alignment, or what needs to be healed, or what needs to be let go and surrendered and transformed, you know? And the lessons, some of the lessons aren't easy, honestly, to be honest.
No, it's not easy.
No, and sometimes the lessons are so hard that we have a lot of physical pain that we go through.
Yes.
Because it's a lot to release. We're releasing these old DNA patterns out of our DNA, which is basically down in the bone marrow, like down in the little crevices of our body. And it's like growing pains.
Yeah.
You know, as a human perspective, it's growing pains in the physical body.
Yeah.
You know?
So is anybody out there having growing pains? Raise your hand. I want everyone to know that you are the same.
Yeah.
We are the same. We all are going through the same things. Whether I show up with my hair washed or not, tomorrow morning I'm gonna have to wash it again. You know, the point is when we look at other people, oh, they're better, they're worse, if only I had more hair, or if I had a bigger house, or if only, you know, these are all games that we're playing. Our personality and our human condition is playing these distraction programs. We are distracting ourselves. I mean, come on, with the electronics, it's insane. We are can you believe 10 years ago, I mean, for us who are a little bit older, come on, I was carrying like a block of wood then.
Yes, we were.
Look, a block of wood.
No,
Now,
20 years ago, I mean, yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like, well, even 10 years ago, we really still had those flip phones, you know?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's 20 years ago, bro. I
All
remember. We're ancient.
For those of you that didn't have phones, and I didn't have a
We had
phone,
pagers, remember?
I refused pagers.
Oh,
I hated pagers.
What? Seriously?
Kiddings, it's like slavery. You know, those pagers ding and they like go run to a phone. I was like, no.
Wait, but there was actually payphones back then. Not no more.
Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah.
Distraction.
There's so much to distract us, and we miss out on the blessings and the miracles that are all around us. You know.
So why do you think there's so many distractions now? Because there's way more today than there was before.
I mean, you said it. You said it. We're in a place of like, in a time that it's a pivotal time for humanity.
Yeah. And
so, whatever you want to call them, the power to be, the dark side, Darth Vader. No, I'm just kidding. The Death Star. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They just want us not to be in our body. They don't want us to be in our true temple form, whatever you want to call it, you know? Because the more that we're outside of our body, the more fragmentation, the more fragmented the are.
All right. The less present.
Less present, and the more we can suck energy off of you.
And that's the old games, isn't it? You know, energy games, control, power. Yeah, but I would like to offer another perspective too. It's like this darkness that we all see, we created it, guys. We're still creating it every moment of every day with our thoughts, with our anger, with our frustration, with our complaints about politics or whatever form you have. And this is why we're doing the talk tonight, because Spirit was like, if you are going to change this planet, you have to change your energy dynamics. And this is kind of a core point here. We have to stop complaining. We can acknowledge, we can feel, we can experience, we can emote, we can, like, if you're frustrated, be frustrated, but then go, okay, I can change this. I will alter this. And that's important because there's certain beings in the universe that do live off negative energy. I mean, the universe is a multi-dimensional, and we're all just like, we don't understand, but that's an illusion. We have to stop with these illusions and acknowledge that everyone's unique and different and from a million planets in the universe, so to speak.
Judgment.
Yeah.
Judgment. We have to stop the judgment of each other and of ourselves, because there's something that we did touch on, love. But love is not what you guys think or what the New Age movement says it is. You know, we have a misconception of what love is completely. And the love that we have now is full of judgment.
Yes.
Judgment and conditions. If you give me love, I'll give you love back. And this is how we created. I want to touch base. This is how we created this world. And and when I had that experience and that understanding when, well, excuse me, all those beings. When I embraced that I was psychotic and psychosis, I embraced that part of me that wanted to just be loved. Like, honestly, just.
I'm going to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, you're part of me. Why am I pushing you away? Because there's this concept in the New Age and in religion that darkness we have to push away. So what happens when we push it away?
Resistance.
And what happens? We're still fragmented. You know? And so it just, like, it's so horrible because, like, we just, like, because we're told that it's not okay to be our true authentic selves. It's not okay to show anger. It's not okay to show sadness. It's not okay to feel sorry for ourselves. It's not okay to embody any type of darkness. So what does that make us? It makes us fake.
Yeah.
Like fake. I'm talking about fake personality. Fake, full of ego, of judgment. I am better than you. So I'm only going to bring up what you want to see. I'm going to show the personality that you expect me to be, instead of me allowing myself to be who I am. If I'm angry, or if I'm sad, or if I'm full of myself in front of you, because you're going to judge me. You're going to take that energy from me, you know? And it's sad, and we're walking around, all of us are walking around fragmented, completely fragmented, and fake personalities. And we're talking about in religion, in the New Age movement, in the spirituality movement. There's really not a lot of true, authentic people, which I would like to ask Spirit. How many percentage of real, authentic people on this planet?
Almost nobody. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, this process of evolution is requiring us to dissolve the fragmentation, acknowledge the fragmentation before we can kind of merge together. And this is some of the work that, you know, I've done and Lobo's done, acknowledging our dark side, and also just going in time and like dissolving it. And that's through acknowledgement. It's like, oh, I did this, so let's change it, because we're super powerful. I mean, we're so powerful, which is one of the reasons that we're so distracted.
Yeah.
Right? We mentioned earlier the DNA's funky. Well, if you could see how I see or Lobo sees, or a couple of people, we can actually look into the DNA and you can see that it's not correct for who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So these distraction programs are real, and it's not necessarily just your personality, but it comes through your personality. And if you're not going to acknowledge that you're just you and you're flawed or imperfect or human, you're already pushing away the lesson. And that's the big problem right now. We have to step back and just love ourselves by changing ourselves. And that is will.
It is will. And we have to be very conscious right now, because the energy that we're in, every thought, every word, every action is a contract.
Yes.
And then you're bound. And then we don't even realize that we bind other people to that contract. So what we're literally doing is taking the free will out of people, taking people's free will, which then makes a ripple, and then it's worse. Then we have more karma to clear up. You know, and when we embrace and acknowledge, yes, I am fragmented. And when we really honor ourselves and say, okay, I'm ready. What part of me, what personality or what aspect needs to be brought into alignment or needs to be recognized? Because some people I know have, like I did, named your personality.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people who have personalities. They say one thing. I mean, I can see it all, guys. I mean, you're not fooling anybody. That's one of the truths that you have to understand. Whatever you think you're fooling, there are many super conscious people who see through it all. And that's important to know, because why bother?
Yeah.
What you present to me is a lot of you, and I'm not saying specifically, but as a generalization, if you're presenting a flawed personality or fragmented personality, I don't acknowledge that in a way, or I'm not feeling like I need to acknowledge it. I'm like, I want to get to your heart or your core or your real truth. And that's, again, shifting into a more knowing system, a higher self system, where you can take what a person's word are, personality level, but you can check it on the higher self and go, yes, I want to acknowledge this, but I also know, and it's not even you have to say it, it's the way, it's what comes through, and just responding in the form that's needed. So it's a little bit, sounds complicated, and I would really like to go into that on another program. But tonight we're talking about personality, because if we're not going to sit here and acknowledge ourselves in fullness, which is all teachings say that,
Mm-hmm.
how are we gonna move forward? We are everything. We have lived so many lives. We have been all over the universe, and yet we're thinking we're small. This is a distraction program.
There is something Spirit really brought into my awareness, why we're fragmented. This New Age spiritual movement really teaches us we need to be in our heart, forget our mind. So there was this exercise that I really appreciate. Her name's Teal Swan. She said, so replace your name with follow. So let's say follow your heart, not your mind. So I'm going to replace my name on it. I'm going to say follow Lobo, but don't follow Lobo. So you see the contradictory of how it enforces fragmentation. So when we're talking about fragmentation in the body, it's bringing the mind, the heart, the body, the gut brain. I want to call it the gut brain, the body brain, the heart brain, and the brain together in alignment as one. Because that is fully being embodied in the body. There's no wars of between personality and the body. When that happens, you will feel this peace that you can't even describe. You know, like your pure essence flowing through you. Doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're learning how to be truly in the body in this beautiful time of great catalyst, catalyst period.
Well, I mean, they're just calling it a great experiment.
Yeah.
Do you think this experiment's easy?
Experiments are not easy. That's the whole thing. I mean, you got to fall in your face 100 times before you get it right.
I love to think about this. Like, do you think this is supposed to be easy? Do you think my life is easy, or this guy's life is easy, or any of your lives are easy? It's incredible that we are thinking everyone has something we don't have, or their life is better, or if I only had this. I mean, it's really kind of insane to have this expectation that by getting this or getting this, we're going to be fulfilled. You can see the distraction program in full circle right now is because all this distraction is keeping you from the truth, which you are going through an experiment. You are transcending from this lower-based mind condition to a heart-based and higher self-based consciousness. It's so exciting, guys, but it's not easy. There's pressure. There are days where you're like, meh, I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm going to watch a bunch of dumb shows or a comic, whatever you need. And it's okay. At the end of that day, you're like, I didn't do much, but tomorrow I can start again. And that's the renewal aspect that I want to talk about, because we are allowed to change our lives now in this moment. So how are you going to change your life? How are we changing our lives? We're talking about it.
How are we changing our lives? I think society really honors or rewards busyness. Busy, busy, busy. You beat yourself up because you gave yourself a day of self-love yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I have to say that I text you, don't allow the distractions to keep you from what you're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
And that was me not checking myself and throwing judgment at you for taking a day of self-love.
Which I needed. I've been super busy.
But when you did that, when you text me that, I have to admit this, I was like, I could go home and put my PJs on and chill.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, but I'm telling you now, but look, we've had this we're being authentic and real right now,
Yeah.
But we play off of each other. We have no idea that as humans, we play off of each other.
Right. And it's a game.
Yes, exactly. It's a pattern.
It's a pattern and game of judgment. And even in a multi-consciousness, which we both live in currently, we are still learning this game. And it will never end. I never want to not grow, honestly.
Of course.
Even though it's uncomfortable, I know that I am motivated to continue this process to learn. It's never like, oh, I've got my certificate. Okay. Will you give me a certificate?
Yes. A diploma. A degree.
I want a certificate with a real melted wax stamp.
Oh, wow. Old school. Okay. We can do that.
And when I get that, I'm going to be like, oh, what do I do with it? Well, now I have to get a frame. Now I have to mount it. It doesn't really look good. It's a bad color for this wall. I'm going to have to repaint this wall now. And,
it's not a metal frame. I want a gold frame. I mean, there's so many silly distractions.
But this is the ridiculousness that we're putting on people. It's like, I want my certificate. Now what do I do? And then we judge ourselves for not doing the right thing, even with a gift that we're given. Our personalities are so flawed. I need a drum now. So what's the joke?
We're ridiculous.
Yes.
We're
Guys,
ridiculous.
We are ridiculous.
We created this. We can unravel this. Don't allow it to be a mystery. It's a mystery because you don't want to step into it.
Yes.
Simple as that. Nothing is a mystery. The only reason it's a mystery because you don't have, you're scared. You're scared to go there because you've never been in that territory before, But in reality, when we step into it, it's like, why was I freaking out about that? That was not so scary, because the moment you do it, it's like, ah, ah, ah. But that takes a lot of courage to do.
Well, I'd like to say the other way about that is it takes a lot of letting go and just going, maybe there's something to learn here.
Non-attachment, yeah, that's also a great lesson, you know. But that comes with allowing yourself to be put back together again.
Yes, I mean, I there's so many people talking to me right now.
One at a time, please.
One at a time. Again, what are your choices? What choices do you have? Are you going to stay where you are? Are you going for the diploma certificate, which I want one now?
I need to do an online course on that. Get certified of defragmenting yourself.
Yes, so our class
Being
will
human.
a class will be coming soon.
An online course.
Are you going to let other people tell you what works for you? We are presenting information in hope of sparking some truth, because we're quite clear in a way. But this isn't the whole truth. We can present it in the forms and the levels as much as we can, but there's always other levels of the same truth that are worded differently, or other concepts. What are the concepts that work for you? What are the alignments that work for you? Who are the people that are positive in your life you want to hang out with? Who are the people that bring you down that you don't want to hang out with? We get to choose, and this choice is happening in this moment. So, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I chose this guy to hang out with. He hasn't even got me a diploma. But beyond that, you know, there's a reason. There's things we needed to learn, and there's things we need to bring together that are quite useful.
And I love, because we did converse about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Choice allows you to have free will. You empower yourself. When you choose, you empower yourself, so you're going in alignment to Christ consciousness. That's what we're trying to get to, no?
Yeah, and I actually love the word Christ consciousness.
I love it too.
But it's also misinterpreted. So you're going to another level of consciousness that you are all designed for. What's slowing you down is your personality, your reactive form, and especially emotional reactive. There's nothing wrong with emotion, but this like instantaneous, like I hate this, I like this. We have to stop with the old systems and the old programs. Recognize the truth of them, but then let's begin anew. Let's begin right now. So I would like to say, and I would love to talk about free will. Maybe that's our next talk, because this is super important. Let's begin today. Let's begin right now. Let's acknowledge our natures. Let's acknowledge we're human. Let's acknowledge that we can shift, because we are all fully capable. We are human.
Of course. We're a human experiment. That's the whole thing. Like, we are human. We incarnated as a human for a reason, okay? Like, we are major targets, and the reason why this experiment is happening, because there are other than us humans, other species, other aliens, other extraterrestrial, other living forms out there that see us and see the endless power we are. How truly powerful and beautiful we are. And they don't want us to advance. They don't want us to be the full potential. They don't want us to be sunny. They don't want us to be shiny. They don't want us to be empowered. They don't want us to be our true authentic self that we were actually built and created to be. And so when we choose to step into the truth that we are, which is stepping into the humanness that we are. Yes, we are all enlightened beings. and we all have a higher self. But what's the point of being your higher self and channeling from the 11th dimension when your body down here is like, hello, hello, drowning, fragmented with multiple personalities, each named.
And why bother doing it? I mean, let's get practical. There's no point, guys. You know, when a wise man hears the truth, they just go, okay, that makes sense. It's time. It's time to just assemble everything that you are, bring it all with you because it's you. I've been dark. I've been light. I've been really dark. I've been super light. I've created rifts in time. I've created, you know, joining and union in planes of existence. And so has everyone. We are incredible beings, multidimensional, living on huge lives. How else could there be such variety of consciousness and species? Even the darker beings, you know, and they tend to be ETs and controls, because they, in a way, some of the knowledge out there suggests that they built the DNA, so they own it, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's the only story, but if you were that being and you spent all this time and years and millions of years to help create these beings, wouldn't you want to ownership or control or something from it? And here we can transition to another consciousness. That's not what we want. No. So it's fine to acknowledge these dark sides, but we can't get caught spending all this energy and worry and blame and like they're the problem, because we can transcend it internally. This is the big knowing, is that this internal translation is going to happen if you let it. If you fragment, then you're allowing this lesson to continue, and whether it's this life or other lives, that's your choice. Whether you go into a lower vibrational lessons in the future or a little bit higher, it doesn't matter. We've led lower, higher, but the experiment right now is to transcend, and I encourage everyone out there to choose that, because that's the chance we have to transcend now into a higher consciousness, love-based, personality-based, and it's so exciting, and it's hard work.
And so I have to say that we created this. Yeah. So we are to embrace it. Any flaws that I don't like in you, guess what? They exist in me. Any flaws in your friends, in your family, or whatever, yeah. It's you. It's in you.
Yeah.
And so the less we stop judging ourselves, the smoother this transition is going to go. Okay?
I love that. Yeah.
Because let's make it easy. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to make the work hard. It's not necessary. But those patterns and those people, those power to be, want you to suffer. In reality, you know, are we headed to oneness? No, we already are in oneness. That's why we've created this mess.
Yeah.
You know, we're all kind of stuck in this, like, handcuffed together, you know, and we're walking around with these, like, magnetic handcuffs or invisible handcuffs with each other because we're so fragmented. Those beautiful parts of ourselves are missing up there. Those beautiful essences of pure soul that we are up there, and like they're just like, hey, hi, we want to be in the body, we want to have that experience. I want to eat pizza. I want to have Hawaiian pizza with jalapenos on it. It's these little simple things that we want to experience that makes us beautiful and great. We
are Beauty and the Beast. So I feel the time kind of closing here. Yeah. Is there anything we want to sum up on personality at this point?
I feel like we're going to have a couple more talks on personality because it's so expansive, and it honestly, it deserves that time.
And I would love to do it with questions because questions spark like intuition. So, you know, we'll do that. And I want to really talk about free will. But for personality, anything else before we go?
Honestly, embrace the let go of the judgments, let go of the distractions. So the simple things that you can do in your life: less social media, less phone time, less screen time. And I'm talking about television, I'm talking about news, I'm talking about commercials. That's why it's called television programming. That subconscious mind, guess what they're doing? They're programming us. Stop it. Go out there in nature. Be connected to what you were made out of. Play with your kids. Play with animals. Have fun. Treat yourself. Do little things of self-love every day for yourself. Little things. If you take a day of self-love and you have these thoughts of beating yourself up, no, say like, no, I'm loving myself so I can be even better tomorrow with the list that I have to do. And honestly, get rid of that list. Because if you accomplish one thing, and that means self-love, or I went and bought groceries, and that's all you did all day, give yourself a hand. You did something for yourself. That's going to give you self-love. Empower yourself. Take the middlemen out. Be your own. Be your own inspiration.
It's all choice. You get to choose your life, and you are everything. You're everything. You're every judgment. You're every observation. Whatever you see in others, you are. It's different to talk about this, guys. It's much different to actually feel it in yourself and be with somebody and go, wow, I'm really hard on this person. We are our personalities. Let's embrace them. But let's embrace them in a cup half full than rather half empty, because most people are half empty. That's the fracturing. And that, so today, in this moment forward, from this moment, did I say that 3 times?
Yeah, you did.
It's very important. Let's be human, and let's be flawed, and let's be beautiful. So, wow, time goes. I honestly, we could sit here for
ever.
I'm
Honestly,
not kidding.
no, same
18
here.
hours.
Yeah, we can have a really long conversation about it because it's so much information.
But it's a lot of energy too. There's a transmission that's happening. So it's time for us to go. Please help us move this forward. Our website is 2source22. We are going to, we're both, I'm a full-time psychic, Lobo is too. I have an office, he has an office. If you're led to have assistance so we can help with that, let us know. Like and expand this work because it's super important. It's why 30 years of my life has gone into these moments in time right now. And I really appreciate everyone watching. Did I miss any social things? Because you're the social master.
So follow us on Facebook, please.
Yeah.
On Todd Rolson. Also his his site with the Living Light Alchemy.
Yeah.
And then mine, which is Golden Sun Wolf Healing and Lobo del Sol. And follow us again, and send your friends too, please. To 2source22, we have a Facebook page, and we're trying to grow it and stuff. And we'll have a lot more posts coming up and stuff. And Instagram and Twitter, YouTube, we are working on all the social medias to have them all broadcast at the same time. So please be patient with us. Thank you for coming on and supporting us and loving you and allowing ourselves to receive your love, because we can feel it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. We can really feel the energy exchange and the transmission of energy and healing that's coming through us for you guys and for us.
So we will be back in just a few more days because, heck, we'll do it every day. It doesn't matter. But blessings to you. Good night.
Blessings.
And
thank you.
See you down the road.
Yes. Peace.
Peace.